of the Hip Hop Nation and the 38th anniversary of the Zulu Nation, excuse me, and the 38th anniversary of hip hop. I'm here with the world-renowned Ice-T, leaning to my left, holding the arm, ready to shout you out. Give it up, T.
Hey, what's up, man? It's a good thing to be here, be part of the Zulu anniversary, I was very fortunate because Africa Islam, son of Bambaataa, put me in the game. Right. So I was like the first West Coast Zulu member.
Okay.
And I created my own organization called the Rhyme Syndicate, which was basically the Zulu Nation from the West Coast. So it's an honor to be part of this big family.
So we got West Coast, East Coast, Zulu Nation, Brazil, Australia, Japan, Zulu Nation. We got folks up in the house from all over the world. And we got Ice-T here kicking it, and he's going to drop on you some science about what got him involved with not just hip-hop, but the Zulu Nation.
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is, when I was coming out of L.A., it was unheard of a West Coast person being able to rap, But anybody who hears hip-hop, they're going to be infected by it. They're going to want to do it. So fortunately, there was a club in L.A. called The Radio, where New York groups would come out and perform. Cold Crush performed there. Africa Islam DJ there, Grand Mixer DST. And I was fortunate, I met Grandmaster Caz and I met Africa Islam, and me and Islam became friends. And then when I started to make my records, Iz like, well, come on out to New York, man. Maybe I can help you get something happening. So by knowing Iz, I came out, I was staying on 156 and Tenton in the South Bronx in his crib. And basically, he was able to introduce me to everybody. So I met New York hip hop from the top down. It wasn't like I had a cousin that lived somewhere in Brooklyn. I came with Islam, so I meet Chuck Chill Out, I meet Red Alert, I got blessed by Bam, I get to meet Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, all the giants, And they all embraced me. They didn't shun me. They didn't say, oh, you from LA, you can't rap. At the time, I had a record called 6 in the Morning, and Melly Mel thought it was the greatest record in the history of the world. So, I just was embraced, and when I got my record deal, I actually got my record deal in New York. Ralph Cooper from the Apollo shopped the deal to Seymour Stein, who was the head of Sire Records, the same guy that signed Madonna. And he had a compilation. It was supposed to have been myself, Grandmaster Caz, Melly Mel, Donald D, and a guy named Bronx Style Bob. But what happened was all of them had record label restrictions. They were all signed. Donald was with Entertainment, Mel was still dealing with Sugar Hill, Caz, Tough City, and I was the only person that wasn't signed, and that's how I got my record deal. I got my record deal by default. It wasn't like I was better, it was just I was the only one that wasn't signed. They gave me $40,000 and the rest is history. My first album went platinum, and I did 6 consecutive gold and platinum records, not even counting the body count records. So I've just had a very fortunate career, let's say that.
I want to back up for a minute because he spoke about some of the roots of hip hop.
He's one of the founding fathers
right.
of hip hop, man.
Okay, and those roots span the West Coast and the East Coast. So this myth about this conflict between West Coast and East Coast needs to be set aside, and people need to understand where hip hop needs to go, because hip hop is a culture, and this is.
Let me speak on that. I mean, the beef was born in the press. That's something that every time you did a rap interview, they want to say, well, who don't you like, and do you got a problem with this? You got to remember, since hip hop was born in the South Bronx, there was beef even between South Bronx and Queens. Right. So there's always going to be people trying to hold that crown, but the tri-state area had a really tight grip on hip hop, whether it was New York, New Jersey, and Philly, and we were just coming from LA, and it just took a minute for New York really truly to accept it. I think when the New York artists really started to travel, see, I'm not dissing New York, but New York is closed-minded. A person from New York believes there's nothing else but New York City, and New York is grimy and tough, and rightfully so. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But when the New York artists started to travel and come to LA and come to Philly and come to Texas and come places, and they like, damn, there are other artists that are hot or hotter than me. That respect was built, Right. So I can remember I went out on my first tour. I was the opening act. It was myself, Biz Markie, Boogie Down Productions, Kumo D, Dougie Fresh, and Eric B. and Rakim. It was called the Dope Jam Tour. And the first night, you know, I'm there with all the acts. They kind of looking at me. All of them didn't know me personally. But when I hit the stage in Austin, Texas, and the motherfuckers knew my record more than them. Colors was hot. I was on fire. I came out, bam, bam, crowd went bow, and then next night everybody's like, Ice, man, pleasure to meet you. You know what I'm saying? We rolling with you. And then, you know, after they found out I wasn't no sucker and I was just trying to be part of it. When you're not from New York, you're trying to be part of this. You ain't trying to stun on New York. You just want to be accepted. So people like myself, people like Ice Cube, people like us, they made the trek to Mecca. They came to the Bronx and met with the right people and got that cosign, you dig? And then, you know, then at that point, you know, now hip-hop is global. You got Japan, you got Australia. The thing of it is, for any art form to really live, it has to migrate itself all over the world. You can't just keep it in one small place. It has to, you know, take root globally if it's real. And that's what hip-hop did.
Now talk about the Zulu Nation, because the Zulu Nation is that global webbing that you just spoke about.
Zulu Nation is really what I call the first hip-hop union.
Okay.
You know, it was a group of groups with a common goal. You know, and BAM basically basic philosophy is if we all going in the same direction, why should we compete? We should help each other. We don't need this competition. That's corny. And you know, being that the Zulu Nation was born from the Black Spades, which is the gang, and them turning it on its back and saying, hey, we now positive. I mean, I know when we had the West Coast gang troops in LA, it's like you gotta bang an opposite. The cats that wanna be negative, you gotta have some soldiers willing to shut that down. So I had total respect for the Zulu Nation, and you know, I can honestly say, without the support of the Zulus, I don't think I would've got off the ground.
See, this commentary is important, folks, because you heard Ice-T say that the beef was really developed in the media, okay? Now, African American Media Network, LI Web TV, we're not mainstream media, so this commentary you're not gonna hear on mainstream media.
Oh, you'll hear it, because I say it on mainstream.
Well, good.
You dig?
Because they need to know it.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, you know, people like controversy. They like beef, you know, so they just enjoy. I mean, they'll interview an actress and they say, well, who don't you like? You know, like, why you even want to put that into the game? Right. But you have to learn not to feed into that. I mean, right now, you know, in hip hop, there's a lot of groups I may not be that fond of, but I'm never going to have it come out my mouth. People like, well, say a name. Well, that just causes a bunch of unnecessary drama that takes years and time to get it out. It just stagnates what you're trying to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
For your new album, baby.
Well, you know, I'm very fortunate. I make a record when I'm ready. You know, right now, I was in a lot of movies before I really caught the acting bug.
Okay.
Now I got the acting bug. So I went on Law and Order to do 4 episodes. It's been 14 years.
Right on.
So I'm not getting off that show till they throw my black ass out. You know, that show paying a lot of bills. You know.
Right on.
And at the end of the day, you know, it's what it is. I mean, when I first did New Jack City, I was very concerned with a street cat playing a cop, how that would be you know, how it would. But once I did that in the streets, it's like, man, you killed it. You killed it. I understand that cats with intelligence know I'm as far as you can get from a cop, but it's acting. It's an art form. You know what I'm saying? And when you act, you can't be yourself all the time. You have to, maybe I'm a school teacher, or maybe I'm this or that. That's part of acting. And the cool thing on SVU is that we're chasing child molesters and rapists. Even in prison, nobody likes them. You know, so my boys in the pen, they like, man, you got the whole day room cheering for the police, man. You know, but it's just a job, and my thing is more like I'm just trying to expand the hustles of the brothers and sisters, just to know that, you know, I'm a career criminal. I was homeless, I was in the street, I robbed banks. I carried guns so long I had a bruise in my leg for a year when I stopped, you dig? So I was like, not now to be in another world where people like, oh, well, you the 1% now, you square, you this, that, and the third. I'm like, that evolution is possible if you're willing. If you're willing to shake some of that stuff off of you, anything is possible because I'm the most rowdy person. Like even when I'm in here, people like, oh, you need security. I'm like, I'm the most dangerous man in this room. You know, so my thing is just to keep evolving, continue to evolve. When the opportunity arises, take advantage of that opportunity. Stop sitting around talking about this, that, and the other. Just make the move when you have that option. And acting, I act with my man Lord Jamar. He's out here acting. A lot of these cats is getting their feet wet in the acting business. Acting business is cool. I mean, as black people, we natural born entertainers. So we could rap, we could sing, we could tell a joke, we could dance, and we can act. I mean, it's all part of us. It's natural for us.
Ice-T, folks, here at SOB's 39th anniversary of the Zulu Nation, 38th anniversary of hip-hop. Anything else you want to share, brother?
Just don't let nobody tell you what you are. You know, don't put yourself into a box. Don't say, oh, I'm a drug dealer. You know, you could be whatever you want. I mean, think about it. You have to, don't limit yourself to like, that's all I can do. You could do a lot. You could pretty much, if you want to learn how to surf, nigga, get a surfboard. I'm telling you, in a couple months, you'll be surfing. You just have to be willing to step out of this box, you know what I'm saying? And for me, the hustle was to step away from the game. It's like, if you ever watch Usual Suspect, they say the ultimate game of the devil was to convince people he didn't exist. So for me to stand on a corner and drink a 40 and hit switches, that requires no game, because that's who I am. But for me to convince America that I'm not a threat, and to come into the household every night, and for Midwest housewives to love my dirty drawers and think that I'm the greatest person, it's like grandma's, oh, Ice, he's so wonderful. And their daughter's like, do you really know who Ice-T is? You know? So to actually be able to get my game to that level, that's what you want to work for. You want to work to where you're not, don't deal with the cards you're dealt. Redeal, reshuffle them. And anybody out there has the capability to do anything they want. You just gotta learn the skill set. That's the trick. Ain't nobody born a basketball player. You have to learn the skill set. No one's born nothing. You just have to take the time to learn the skill set for that occupation, period. I might be a lawyer next year, I don't know, just gotta start reading some books. That's all you gotta do. I mean, all you gotta do is read the books, learn the skill set, pass the bar. You could do any fucking thing.
Work